at the end of the day, it's like which one is easy to use and fairly easy to learn. And we really felt like Rapid Recon. You sit there 5 minutes with you guys, and you go, okay, I can understand this flow of this, and if I can understand it, certainly everybody else here can because they're all smarter than me. So we licensed it at that point in time and have been on board with you guys ever since.
Hi, I am Dennis McGinn, founder and CEO of vehicle reconditioning and communications company Rapid Recon. At your place, we visit with guests at their place of business to engage in conversations about the auto industry. Today, we are fortunate to have Mike Davis, General Manager of Faricy Chrysler Jeep in Colorado Springs. Welcome, Mike.
Dennis, thanks for having me on here. Let me join you and your audience today.
Thank you. Describe your dealership, if you would, Mike, for me and for the audience about your market demographics and any unique challenges that you have there.
We are one of two local Chrysler Jeep stores here in Colorado Springs. About 700,000 people here locally, and sell about 825 new cars at this point in time, about 715 used cars per year. The only really probably unique thing about Colorado Springs that I would throw out there is heavily military. So it's about 50% of the economy here locally, provides a lot of stability in the economy. So it helps smooth some of the upswings and downswings in the market. So that's always been a fantastic piece of it. And we get the opportunity to watch the people that serve our country so well each and every day. Air Force Academy here, get to go watch some exciting college athletics and stuff like that. Watch these young leaders be developed. So it's pretty cool community to be part of.
That's awesome. Mike, we have this saying, connect what you expect. And of course, everybody in the dealership business I've been around have always said, inspect what you expect. And then, so I've kind of, capitalized on that. But what does that mean to you? When we put connect what you expect out there, how does that strike you?
What I would put that to is be involved. It's I think Dave Anderson likes to talk about polishing your chair with your backside and not being that guy. And I think that's an accurate thing. So I think that's what connected what you expect is that you're involved in it. You know what's happening. And I'd say it's part of servant leadership. That's a piece that I've worked hard with our team is like, you don't just send people out there to do things, as you go out there and find out the obstacles that they have and you help them overcome them and you be part of the solution instead of just issuing your orders from on high. So I think it's being involved in the business each and every day. So, last Friday I was here till midnight helping my parts team do parts inventory. And I think that's a piece of it is you're just in there and it helps me understand what's going on. And it also helps me go, you know what, guys, this is broken. And you see the processes that people don't see the importance of. And when you jump in it with them and you go through those processes, sometimes you go, this is a goofy process we have in place, let's change it. Sometimes you look at it and you say, this is the process, guys, and this is why the process is there. And you ask them to play their part in it and explain why that process is. And I think that's the big piece that we often leave out is we give orders, directives, whatever you want to say, and say, hey, I need this to happen. And they go, well, that seems kind of goofy to me, but okay. And then they do it, but they do it half-heartedly. And if you explain the why in it, then you get buy-in from them. They go, oh, okay, now I understand why you asked me to do something. It's not quite as goofy as I thought it was.
So I love that part of leadership is, getting up there and getting with the people who are doing the job. And with your background, having been in the parts side of the business, doing inventory, it's got to be a tough job but it's got to be done. We hear reports about the wholesale markets for the used cars. Some people say it's going up. Some people say it's going the other way. What are you seeing in your market for getting your inventory?
I think locally what we're definitely seeing is prices are dropping. Probably gone back to a more normal used car market at this point in time than what we've seen for since 2020, at least at this point in time, where you're seeing parts prices dropping each month on a fairly predictable 1 to 2% per month, and we're seeing something very similar. What's not changing is necessarily the sourcing of vehicles. If you go out there looking for stuff, a lot of people are still very proud of what they have out there. Of course, if they bought it 30, 60 days ago, they may have seen a big difference there. So I think we're feeling the effects of that, but it's I would say it's returned to a more traditionally historical market rather than what we've seen for the last 24 to 36 months. And frankly, I welcome that. It's time to get back to a little bit more normal in the car business.
That's great. I think you said once an excellent reconditioning software tool is like the box top of a jigsaw puzzle. Uh, how, can you explain it? I don't quite understand exactly what you mean.
So when I look at it, I just when Jim and I were talking here a while back, I just told him, I said, if you're sitting there trying to do a jigsaw puzzle, uh,
Yeah.
and it's you lay all the pieces out, you got them thrown out there, and you start putting it together. Some things come together pretty quick. The edges you can kind of figure out, but as you start putting this thing together, you pull that box top over and you take a look at it and go, okay, this helps me, and it helps you kind of decipher what's happening on that puzzle and what needs to go where. And I would say the way we use Rapid Recon is like that for me, is that you can look at all the pieces out there and you look at that and say, here's where they all need to go to. So it helps me kind of build the complete picture of what's happening in there. So it helps me identify the pieces and then put them in the right place and get the puzzle assembled, which is getting the used car out on the lot.
That's a unique perspective, but I love the analogy or the imagery of that. It gives me an idea for another product, actually. But you're right. I mean we're all graphical, right? We all want to see and touch things. This is all about the business, and I totally get that. I love that whole thing. Uh, Mike, out there, a lot of recon products out there these days. How did you choose the one that you're using?
No, I was walking the floor in ADA, had no idea that this was really out there. I think we were in 2016 is about when we date back when we bought uh, when we first came on board with Rapid Recon. And I was walking the floor of NADA, came across the Rapid Recon booth, uh, took a 10, 15-minute demo. At that point in time, we had a shared spreadsheet that was being used at the dealership, and it worked. We had, this is where the car's at, this is what's happening. You could put notes in it, etc. But with a shared spreadsheet, there's limited people that can get to it. My techs didn't have access to it. Uh, some of the parts
Yeah.
people, some of the important people, and frankly, you wanted to limit access because every time a new person jumped into it, they ended up breaking it. So after I took the demo with Rapid Recon, I think at that particular show, there were at least two reconditioning software companies there. Might have been a third one as well. And after I looked at Rapid Recon, we visited the remaining of it, gathered up our team. When we do an ADA, we typically each night gather for dinner and talk about what we saw and make plans for the next day. And as we talked about that night, said, hey, let's go look at this because this is an important piece. So went out and looked at all the competitors that were there, and just at the end of the day, it's like, which one is easy to use and fairly easy to learn. And we really felt like Rapid Recon, you sit there 5 minutes with you guys and you go, okay, I can understand this flow of this. And if I can understand it, certainly everybody else here can, because they're all smarter than me. So we licensed it at that point in time and have been on board with you guys ever since.
Oh, that's great. We put a lot of energy into to NADA, so I love hearing the stories. And there are a lot of people who have tried to copy what we're doing, but there's just nothing else. So you made a really great decision. Of course, that's my unbiased opinion.
Yeah,
But
absolutely
let me ask
impartial.
you, absolutely, yeah. But as GM of the store, what are the what aspects of recon do you kind of keep your hands around? What do you watch the most?
From my perspective, the main tool that I use for recon is each day I get the color trigger report from Rapid Recon. I take a look at it, and if I start seeing things coming up in the yellow and the red, primarily in the red, I let the my recon manager Amanda manage the process for the most part. But if I start seeing things come up in red and I start seeing a trend, then I'll go back there and have a conversation. If not, shoot off an email. Typically, I'll forward the color trigger report and say, hey, give me some explanation about this. We'll talk about it. So I would say that they know that I'm seeing it, watching it, and we'll talk about where things get stalled out and talk about what's creating it. So that's probably my major involvement in the recon at this point in time. And then just the other piece that's important for me on recon is paying attention to how long cars take to get here. We transferred from a more traditional auction type based. We used to all go stand in the lanes at the auctions and throw our hands up and buy cars. And then they went to online. They had a used car manager that was actually buying cars from the East Coast with us in the middle of the country. You go out to Jersey, Philadelphia, and Nashville even, and you buy these cars, and then 10 days later you're going, hey, what's going on with this car? It's, oh, it's not here yet. We've kind of transferred away from that, and we've lived largely off of trades for about the last 3 to 4 years, and it's worked really well for us. You can't make money on auction vehicles for the most part. You find a few nuggets there, but they're pretty skinny grosses, take a while to get here, etc. And that first 15 days is really key to get that car and have it showcased to merchandise. So that's been a big piece of how I look at with the recon is let's make sure we get the cars here, which right now our main sourcing, if not our only sourcing almost, is street purchases. We just hired a gentleman to do that. And we'll buy out of our service department, and then we do trades. So, and those all provide the benefit of almost instantly being here. So,
yeah, that's great that you can get a lot of those off of trades, but your direct buy is working. That's great. Kind of a great market. Kind of my last question for you is, or actually I have two more, but what kind of advice would you pass to our audience, for a young person saying, hey, should I get involved with this business now? Is it a good time or a bad time? You got any advice for somebody like that?
I think there's always opportunity in the car business. And one of the things I find really people look at and they limit themselves is they look at a car dealer and they think you can sell cars or you can fix cars. And they forget about all the ancillary things that we do. We have, obviously management, you have internet people, you have receptionists, you have accounting, parts people, service advisors. So there's a job for just about anybody in here. If you love cars, you want to be part of the business, go talk to somebody. That's probably my number one is go out there and do some research. I've had a young lady came down. She wanted to be part of the business. She was completing a local auto tech program here. And she's like, I want to be in the car business. And I said, she called me up and I said, come on down, we'll talk. So we spent 4 hours on a Saturday just talking about what her dreams were. She's a 16-year-old getting ready to graduate from high school. Just an amazing young lady. And as we talked, my advice ended up being, you don't want to be in a car dealership. That wasn't where her dreams were taking her. She'd done tons of research. She wanted to get into the racing world, and she researched a race team that was led by a female. And she's like, that's what I want to do. And today, Colette runs her own team and is a multimillionaire. That was probably about 15 years ago. But, it's go talk to somebody about where it's at. But it's a fantastic business, both financially. And I think there's not a part of this business that you don't wake up every day and go, my day's going to be different. It's real easy to look at a technician. I'm going to fix cars, but you're going to fix different things on cars. Different problems are going to come across my desk and just about every desk here. So as opposed to just day after day of doing the exact same thing, you get the opportunity to do different things each and every day. And I think that's one of the fun things about it. But it's like, go out there. And if you're a young person in this business and you want to grow in this business, so often everybody waits for the education and the opportunity to come to them. It's like, I want to be a parts manager, and you're on the parts counter. And it's like, so what are you doing? So be a student of the business. And, there's a lot of resources out there. You wouldn't think there's very much information out there about the car business in the way of books, etc. But if you go dig, you can find the stuff that you want to. And if you wait for your manager to come up and say, hey, go take this class, we'll get there. But sometimes you seem perfectly happy where you're at, and we don't understand what your desires are. So sometimes you have to be a little bit loud and come out. And finally, I'd say go find somebody that has the job that you want, and go adopt them as a mentor, either officially or unofficially, and just get in their ear, get their advice, and take that and run with it, because that'll be amazing what you can kind of come out of it. And also, don't do the job that you have. If there are opportunities, uh, you got to step up and say, "Hey, I can do this. I can help you with this. Do you need help?" And people will give you that opportunity, and then you can go try it. If you're a service advisor, you want to thinking about accounting, go pick up a couple accounting things, do that for a couple times if they'll allow it. And you may find out that you love it, and that's exactly where you want to live. And you may find out that, you know what, that's not me. And if that's okay too, I love to see both ways, because some people think that a job's glamour and fun, and it's not so much glamorous and fun.
One last question. This is more curiosity, but you mentioned Amanda. She is your recon manager, and I had a chance to look at your system. I see her in there all the time. Did you? How did she get into that role? Do you? What's her background, if you don't mind me asking?
Amanda's a recent addition as well. We've had a reconditioning manager. I had one that was less effective. We were having some challenges with some times, etc. And they were going through the process. And we went out, found Amanda. She was at a tractor dealership here locally as a service advisor, and said, you know what, you've got the background, you understand the technical aspect, you understand the paperwork flow, etc. So we hired her in there and said, here's your job, is to manage this stuff. And it's really good. I think a lot of things with recon is people they look at it very linear. Even if you look at like Rapid Recon, it will give you the appearance of step 1 through 40 or whatever, however many you've got set up. And it's easy to go, well, we haven't completed step 3, so let's not do that. And having that intermediary in there that's managing it really helps us, because I'm waiting on parts for a parts hold. It's like, well, there's 10 jobs on there. There's parts for 2 of them on back order or on order. Let's get the other 8 done. That's done. We can go to detail. Sometimes the technicians are backed up and they can't get to a car. So it's like, let's detail that car first. Let's shoot our pictures, do our merchandising, and then we can go through the recon. Every once in a while you do all that and you find out that a car's not going to make it through, but it's a rare occasion. Everybody wants to say, well, yeah, but every time we do that, we end up wholesaling the car. And if you look at the reality of it, it's maybe 2 to 3% of the time that happens, and everybody wants to make that exception the rule. So that's Amanda's background, and that's how we utilize her. She really manages the process with the techs, detailers, everybody, and we have all those people in the system every day. My used car manager, my service manager, myself. So we have a lot of people that are in the system, kind of helping move things along and keep an eye on what's happening.
That's great. Well, I really appreciate your time, Mike, and sounds like you've got a really good operation going up there. And it's guys with your background and the wisdom that make this thing go around, right? You understand all parts of the business. You're engaged with your people. You're using the tools that tell them where things are and why, and how long they're taking. I'm really, really grateful for your time and to kind of hear your thoughts on this. So thank you. Have a great day, and, great finish for the end of the year.
All right. Thank you as well. Have a great one.
Thank you.